Set, go.
Aloha, I'm Magestic, and this is my beloved Sebastian. Today we are here to introduce you to biological architecture. So Sebastian's been studying for a while about biological architecture, and I've recently been gaining more interest in learning. So from my understanding of what biological architecture is, it's building a house that you live in, or your structure, your home, to be in harmony with nature, with natural materials, opposed to, because of course wood is natural and such, but they put a lot of rebar and other materials in there that is not so harmonious for your body and your cells. So when you're building with breathing materials from the earth, then it charges your entire being, and the walls are breathing. When the ground is, what is it called that they do?
Earthen floors.
Earthen floors. So it's made up of the earth. So how we go outside to do earthing, well, while you're inside of your home, you're connected and grounded into the earth.
So with the biological architecture, what's happening is that you're attracting charge as you're attracting all of that charge, that life force energy from around you, by the way that your building is built and by the way that you're directing the flow using techniques as feng shui, biogeometry, and sacred geometry, and other techniques can all be involved in this. But the simple process is that you're taking the earth and you're building a house out of the earth. You're not using a lot of synthetic materials and chemicals and oil-based products, and the toxic list goes on of things that we can actually use to build our houses with that make them look pretty and look fancy and all of this, like our modern day civilizations. If we look around us, there's a lot of houses that are built. 95% of them are all built just because. There's not a lot of them that are actually built biologically. So when you look at it and you get into it, cob homes are biological homes, sandbag homes are biological homes, you got wood cabins are biological homes. There's so many different biological homes that are actually in alignment with what health and vitality is all about. So if you can attract charge and distribute it efficiently through your whole entire body, you have a strong aura and you're in alignment, you feel great, everything is wonderful, things come to you that you need, and you're having a wonderful life. That's the energy that we need to have inside of our houses. And if our house is built that way, then when we're in our house, we should feel so good we don't want to leave, because that's what biological architecture does. It makes us feel at home, really, truly. So when we go out into this world and we feel like we're stressed out or full of anxiety or all of these things that happen from being out there in the Babylon that we're in, whatever you call it, metropolis is, that's because all of the angles and the materials it was built with is actually stripping you of your charge. So we need to go to sacred places like our house to rejuvenate. So if we build our house to rejuvenate us, then of course that would be the place we would want to go.
So most houses, like the beautiful fancy mansions, it could be very luxurious mainstream houses that are built, almost all of them, the basic foundation is with rebar.
Cement,
correct?
and rebar.
Cement and rebar.
And it's not that the cement is not good for you, because the limestone and sand and all of that in cement is actually, and calcium, all these things that are in the cement is actually good for you. But when we put the rebar inside of it, it bleeds charge from us. So when you're walking on the cement and you feel really drained out and your feet start hurting, that's because the rebar, not the cement, it's taking the charge that you would be getting if you were on the ground, the natural earth. If you're grounding and you're on the earth, the negative ions are actually coming up through the bottoms of your feet, and then all the positive ions that are surrounding the entire earth that we're collecting all day long, instead of just being built up in our body, it goes through you and goes into the earth, and then it charges you back up. Our houses need to be built in alignment with this, so we can use the cement, but we need to let the rebar not be there.
So even for the most enlightened beings, you could be home doing all of your fantastic practices and eating well, and of course then you're building your aura, so you're strong. But at the same time, if you're sleeping and you're spending a lot of time in a non-harmonious house, then that's why you're having to go out to nature more, which I recommend doing anyways. But why not also bring that in to our main space that we call our sacred
Yeah, instead of having
space.
to go somewhere into nature, to go take your shoes off, to put your feet on the ground. If you build your house as nature, then you're in nature, because we are nature. So if we're connected then everywhere we are, then it would make more sense, if we're going to spend a lot of time in these places, to be able to mimic nature.
And now let's talk about some of the extra benefits, as if that's not enough right there. It's also within the way that these structures are built, you're saving a lot. You're saving on utilities because of the way that it's set up. It's actually temperature control by the way that the windows are placed, by the way that the sunlight's coming in at certain times of year for heating it,
and different tunnel systems that are underneath the ground with different tubes, different big gigantic mounds of dirt that have that are called thermal mass, or the walls that are built out of sandbags that actually is the thermal mass, so it insulates it so it stays warm in the winter and it stays cool during the summer. And there are different ways that you can actually, basically, you're lowering your energy footprint on this planet, and contributing to helping the planet, and you're lowering your amount of money that you need to spend on bills to keep yourself warm and cool most of the time, in which you're not even home because you're out working. And so then you come home to this place that you're only in some of the time, to have it cooled or heated with all this money that you just got paid from the job that you have, that you're not even at the place for. So if you were to not spend all that money, you wouldn't need to work so much. Then you could actually be home and hang out more in a place that was pretty cool, especially if you built a biological house and you wanted to be in the thing.
And they're actually fairly affordable to build. Also, take the sandbag homes, for example. Most places that you go, there's some form of dirt. Now, it's all, of course, testing the quality of the sand and the dirt available, but you utilize whatever materials are around is what you would base your decision on, whether we're going to do cob or you're going to do hempcrete
or bamboo
or different things. But the sandbag we have recently been the most passionate about, and that's just getting a whole sack of sandbags and actually filling it up with the earth. And you can make it as simple or fancy. Some people think about, these like little earth homes, and they think about little emergency huts.
Oh yeah, pause where emergencies. Exactly. Okay. Emergency. They're hurricane proof, fire proof, mold proof, bug proof, and flood proof. And let's see, what else? Like, they are super legit. They have been tested and tried for earthquakes, the most craziest earthquakes ever. They're still standing. So, if you think that your house made out of sticks is superior, then it might be if it's made out of the right sticks put together in the right directions. So if we bring together all of the patterns that nature has brought us, and we start to build according to these sacred patterns, I would pretty much have to guarantee us all that we would be more joyful, more happy, more healthy, more whole, more rejuvenated, more able to share and to care, and more willing to see that we live in a beautiful, amazing world, and everything we need is around us. And if we can understand that there are some of us who know how to hear, some of us who know how to feel and see and do, if we can come together as this whole earth team, I'm pretty sure all of us could have a biologically built house in no time.
And when you think about how many trees, as we're here in the redwood forest, that have been cut down throughout the years to build so many different houses and furnitures and such, the impact that has. And really, I've been in so many wooden houses, the termites are getting, mice and rats are eating through, so there's tons of bug and pest problems. With these earth structures, there isn't any of that, and you're saving the trees so you can actually go out and enjoy the oxygen that they're sharing with us.
And the shade.
And you can, within cob, even build, because often you can maybe explain a little bit of why working with different shapes, like a little bit more of egg shape and circular motions and more of a flow rather than just a square box.
Well, that's just it. Is what is biological? It's the ability to attract charge, and when we're alive and we attract charge from our atmosphere, from our environment, when we eat food, the reason why we're eating food is to get the nutrients out of the food so that we can become stronger and healthier. And then we discard all of what we can't digest and process that comes out of us, and then that has to go somewhere and has to be dealt with, and there's energy that needs to go into that, and then there's all the energy and information that needs to come in for us to be able to have the food that we need to eat, to have the water, to be able to have the homes, to be able to be in alignment and in harmony with all that's around us. Seems to be like it's a complex thing, and it really is simple, actually, very, very simple. So in this very simple, complex presentation about what biological architecture is it's on many levels of what it actually is, but in a simple form, it's taking Earth and building yourself a nice house in a beautiful shape that flows with the curvature of nature and is in harmony with what it's like to feel really good in this body skin, where you want to come out of it and
divine
present
feminine curves flowing into your house instead of just, such squares. You can really play with, think about the ocean and the waves and the flow.
And so you're forming your house too with your hands. You're using the mud and you're forming the outside layers of the house any way that you want. You can put crystals and gems inside of them, and you can put dream catchers and nice colored glass for windows. And then what happens is all the mud settles and it gets really hard, and we bake it with a plaster afterwards, so it's completely sealed off. And then it just looks like a fantastic art project on top of that. So you can have luxury for sure.
And that depends on what luxury means to you. What is it, Cal Earth?
Cal Earth Institute.
Cal Earth Institute is a great thing to look up if you're interested in anything that we're saying. And the houses that they just got approved and built, that is all Earth houses. It's like a mainstream house to look at. To me, it's a little boring, but it's beneficial for the earth and it's beneficial to be in. So you can have it.
And their electric bill is like that.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, you can save a lot of money building with nature, save yourself a lot of wear and tear in the long run and in the short run. And then you can help all the other beings around you with the extra money you saved, build themselves some houses, and then we can keep on sharing, and the planet all of a sudden is just this happy, awesome biological place that it was meant to be, that it really is.
And then if you're a very creative person, then it has a lot of creative freedom. Like he was saying with the cob, of you can shape designs, light language, waves, spirals. You can work with some glass and crystals and colors. So there's like a lot of freedom of being able to co-create in the design of your own home. It can be one story, it can also be 2 stories, it can be small, a little hobbit thing, or can it be very large? So it's really infinite in the amount of possibilities that you can create, and how fun to actually get to be part of designing and creating and even participating.
Yeah.
Even if you're not doing it all yourself, still come and participate to actually know that you had that hands-on experience and you were a part of that project while actually not leaving a strong carbon footprint and being in harmony with nature.
We need to build spaces that in return build us.
So this is an actual sacred space. I know, being a spiritual being, often we're like, oh, we're holding sacred space, and we're in this like metal box building that's completely depleting of our energy. And yes, we're there, and we've got our crystal bowls or maybe our sage and medicines, and we're uplifting the vibe. We are, but initially the actual space that we're in isn't that sacred. You're better off just coming out to nature and holding your ceremony or something in that
Because
space.
what happens is when we're holding all that energy and we're starting to build all that energy and we're in a non-beneficial place, all that energy gets stripped from us and taken. It doesn't come back and feed us. And so ultimately, in the end, it takes us down, 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 down. No matter how high and beautiful and amazing and spiritual we are, how physical we are, how many we do the right things. We eat right, we think right, we are right, we treat people right, we donate things, but sometimes things happen and we don't, why is this happening to me? Well, there's certain reasons why things happen to us, and it wasn't our fault that these buildings that we live in, that we paid a lot of money for and that we continue paying for, it's not our fault or the people maybe before us' fault that they were built this way. It's just that they forgot the actual true wisdom and understanding from the ages that have been here for a long time. They forgot the real glue of how to glue the fabric of reality together with biological nectar. And so these buildings that are here we can live in them and mitigate them while we're in them. But when they do fall down, because they will, let's not rebuild them again in the same way. Let's just continue building one by one more biological structures that actually last forever. So let's do it right in the beginning. Let's lay our foundation strong. Let's rise up and let's actually become a global community again of beautiful, amazing, uplifting, joyful people. I'm Sebastian Soulshine Wolf, and this is Magestic Sparkletron. We have many more videos to share, but we don't want to make them too long, so we should probably stop this one soon, huh? Peace.